Hello there, Dr. Phil here. Just a quick video to show you a little bit about my laboratory setup. It's a bit messy, but I don't care. Most other people just, they clean it up a bit. But I thought, you're going to see me in my natural environment. Isn't that fun? Anywho, here's my water. Here's a new flat lappy kind of tool. I've got a Dremel just out of camera shot. But what I was going to do was I was going to talk to you about something very important. I was going to talk to you about sand. Most opal people very much like Anakin Skywalker. I don't like sand. It's coarse and it's dry. And realistically, we probably should give sand a little bit more credit than it deserves. I've got a few samples sitting here. I bought them quite a little bit expensive, but I've got a sample just like this guy here. You can have a look at that. It's quite a nice sample, to be honest. I'm going to try and dig something out of it later. I've got another sample here, and this one looks a little bit, doesn't look as good, but I suspect there's something in that. It's heavier than you'd expect. There's another sample here. Have a look at that. I might wet this one just so you can see it. Mostly sand. Got a nice sun today, so we can actually look at the opals in their natural sunlight, which is a little bit gorgeous. There's a nice little green flash there. Finally, I've got this piece. I'm gonna wet it too. This is actually more reminiscent of what you expect with opal. I presume this was all taken out of the same area in Lightning Ridge. So there's a nice little piece of precious opal running through that. That'll be fun to hunt through later on. You can see there's actually a little sand spot in there. Now the reason why I was going to discuss sand in the first place is because people don't like sand, and I can understand why they don't like it, because, well, it ruins their opal as far as they're concerned. Beaten or eaten by sand is what they say an awful lot of times, isn't it? And I can understand that, but the realistic part about it is that you can't have opal without the sand, because opal is silica, sand is a different form of silica. And there's two mechanisms that I can think of by which opal is formed, which is critical to this. One of them is either just essentially silica being flowing into the opal via water in pores, which is most easily done if you've got a sandy substrate to do that with. One of the things that I'm suspecting is that opal is lithogenic, which means that it's actually forms in situ, and in order to do that you need to have the raw materials around. So it's quite possible that the sand dissolves and then rematerializes, recrystallizes as opal later on down the track. Now I happen to know that this thing is a little bit fragile, so if you want me to break it open, let's see what's in there. Let's go. Well, is that in? Well, that's not too bad. Got a nice little bit in there. If it had fractured the right way, we might have had a little bit more fun, but that's okay. You can see that little seam there. Can I break that seam open? Being a little bit more delicate now that I know where it all is. I'm not going to do that actually. It's just a little bit too delicate. So I'm looking here. I like that seam. I might excavate it with a tool later on. So that's interesting. Let's have another look at it. Yeah, there's a little bit of very, very interesting looking opal actually. Can have a look at this side. This bit's a bit more disappointing, to be honest, because when I cracked it open, I realised I'd cracked open a chunk of a seam of opal, which could well have been, there's the seam, but you don't know. But look at this. Let's take that bit off. Carefully take this piece off the top. Carefully take this piece off the top. Ooh. There's the opal in there, and there's that nice little chunk of opal just sitting there. Let's see if we can just carefully, whoop. That was already fractured, so I'm not too concerned, but there, nice little piece of opal. Broke again. So yeah, I can definitely make a gem out of this bad boy. Look at that. Look at how vibrant he is. Nice piece of opal there. Here's another nice chunk of opal. I mean, it's not huge, but when you think about it, opal is measured in the carats. That's going into my fragments. Opal is measured in carats, which is 1/5 of a gram. So you don't need a lot of opal. This is about roughly a carat of opal just sitting here. And you can, you know, if it's top grade opal, this is not exactly top grade opal, but you know, you can get quite a lot of money per carat for opals. So not at all disappointing. And I think that it's whole. It could have a few fractures within it, but I will happily try to do stuff with that. Where's that piece that I took it off? And look, within there, we've still got heaps to go. Got a nice little chunk of opal which we might be able to do something with. Let me see. What I might do is I might carefully excavate this, or do that. What did I just break? Yeah, there's a nice little seam there. I'll leave that because I want to excavate that. There's a remaining seam there. Right, and here is the opal in situ. What do you know? I accidentally managed to get that seam out a bit better than I thought. Leave that there. I'll show you what's come from this a little bit later. By the way, the water actually has an influence on the opal. It actually helps to force the seams apart. Not many people realise that when they're dunking their opals in water, and they wonder why it all explodes. Soil scientists understand that water actually gets into the pores and forces things apart. Right, let's try this piece. All right, this is looking very good. Even just give it a little bit of a, yeah, I might shine this up on off camera and show it to you later. All right, there we go. Here is the fragment. I was about to turn the camera off. You've got pieces of opal everywhere now. Okay, so this isn't going to break any further. I can make a nice little ring stone out of that. There might be a few more, but yeah, there we go. I think that's as far as it's going to go. So that's a nice little, yeah, there's another nice little stone there. Might be able to make that into a drop. Small but mighty. This one. I can see that I haven't lost anything other than the sample, of course. Sometimes opal specimens sell quite well. But yeah, I can actually see sand in between where it's cracked apart, so it was always going to crack there. But yeah, there's actually some nice opal sitting in the middle of that. So we'll see what that does. That'll be lovely. So you can see that there. See if there's anything else here quickly before we move on to bigger and better things. Have a look over here. This is a lot heavier than the other piece as well, so there might actually be more opal sitting in that. Yeah, I like this piece. I think we're gonna do well with this piece. Yeah, but we've gotten a lot out of it, so that's good. I'll reset the cameras so that you can see some of this stuff being cut. It will be quite a lot of fun, I reckon. Okay, hooroo. Hello there, Dr. Phil. I'll show you some other opals, but this is a piece that I'm working on at the moment, and it looks fairly, well, pedestrian at the moment. It just looks like a lump of sand, really. But I have excavated just a little bit of opal out of the out of the end there. You can see that. I was just going to show you the advantage of actually being able to analyze it using a laser, and we have to have pretty dark conditions for you to see it. So hopefully you can. Are we ready? So as you can see, there's pretty much nothing going on, and then suddenly, see that? So that is, you can now see some of the opal actually shining through once you've excavated enough. And that's because this laser happens to be powerful enough to show you. And what you can figure out here is that basically what I'm seeing is about 10 to 20 mil of unbroken crystal, which is extending through approximately half of the stone. That's a huge advantage, knowing that the stone's actually like this, without having to worry too much about how much sand's in there. There is definitely a bit of sand in there. You can actually use this technique also to identify where the sand shadows are, but it also gives you a little bit of hope of what's going on. And you can also see how well your excavation is going, because I can literally shine the opal on any part here, yeah, and then you can see where it lights up on the other side. And as you can see, it lights up only just very briefly on the edge there. And just so that you know, I'm not really shining the light anywhere near that bit where it's lighting up. I'll point that over there. Yeah, that bit. And just one last thing that you can see about lightning ridge opals in particular, they fluoresce. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shine the light on, take the light off, shine the light on, take the light off, light on, light off, light on, light off. Fluorescent opal, gotta love it. Oh, that is very, very cool. Lasers are cool. You can see where they're all going. See the fluorescing? Yeah, so this guy is actually slightly in the ultraviolet range, this laser. Anyway, I'll get this guy cleaned up and I'll show you some of the other opals that were a result of that. In the sunlight, some of these nice little gems, just a handful of them, and that all came from that rough that I've been working on. So if you think about it, if you buy rough for maybe like $100, this can easily become several $1,000s worth of gems. Not a problem. I can weigh it. I'll weigh it later, but 30, 40 carats maybe combined. This one over here, that one's probably worth, I don't know, a couple hundred maybe even 1,000, you know. Be optimistic. Nice colours, nice crystal opal, and there's a few good colours. I might be able to do something, for example, with that one. You never know. Anywho, thought you'd be interested. Dr. Phil out. Alright, so I'm just going to show you quickly, in the sunlight, some of these nice little gems. Just a handful of them, and that all came from that rough that I've been working on. So if you think about it, if you buy rough for maybe like $100, this can easily become several $1,000s worth of gems. Not a problem. I can weigh it. I'll weigh it later, but 30, 40 carats maybe combined. This one over here, that one's probably worth, I don't know, a couple hundred maybe even 1,000, you know. Be optimistic. Nice colours, nice crystal opal, and there's a few good colours. I might be able to do something, for example, with that one. You never know. Anywho, thought you'd be interested. Dr. Phil out.